So in this section we're going to talk about scope, and in particular we're going to talk about the local, encapsulated, global and built-in scopes. They come along with this acronym LEGB. Now, scopes come in order, so we're going to see how this order actually works. And the first scope is local, the next one's encapsulated, then it's global, and then built-in. In particular, we're going to look at the local and the global scopes, although the same principles are going to work for the encapsulated and built-in scopes too. Now, we just take this variable, this regular standard variable, a equals 10, and then as usual, we will do a print of a, and we get a equals 10. We can then go along and make a function, so we'll define our function, and we can say that a equals 10. And we will do a print inside of the function, so print a, just like this. For this print statement to run, we have to call a function, so let's call a function, my function. We run the code, and we get 10. And 10 from inside my function. Let's just make this clear by writing something like this, inside my function. So something like this. And also for the outer one, just for good clarity, outside my function. So now we can see these two functions clearly where they come in the code and their order. Here we go, outside my function and inside my function. Outside my function was run on line number 11, and inside my function was run on line number 10. Now, let's just change this inside my function here. What value are we going to get? And the answer to this is we're going to get 20. Now, it kind of looks logical because a equals 10 over here and then a equals 20 over here. But hold on a second, if a is 20 and Python's updated itself, then why when we do prints outside my function are we getting a? And the reason why is exactly because of scope. The scope here is in the global space. So everything outside of the function is known as the global scope. So we're in the global scope here, and also anything outside of here is the global scope. This is outside of where the function has done its return statement. This is the global scope. Anything inside of the function is called the local scope. So now we don't have any collisions between our variables. We can have the same variable existing outside of the function as we have inside of the function. Now, one extra bit just to mention in terms of scope, and again we've just looked at the local and global scope, but one thing to note is that if we comment out this value here, then what is a going to be? Or is a actually going to be undefined? So let's just run this code and see what happens. And we see that a now takes the value of 10. So what we actually have is, or at least what the interpreter is doing, is it first looks for this variable a. It doesn't find it inside the local scope. So it does a search inside the local scope first, and then next it will do a search in the encapsulated scope, which we haven't talked about, and then it will do a search in the global scope, and it finds it in the global scope, and therefore it prints a equals 10. So that's generally the rule of scope and how it works in Python.